Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Cheap Seats. It's the FPL show. The Queen dying kind of gave us a situation where we all went into mourning, and we had a what is it? What do they call it? It's a not a what is it? It's a blank game week. Yes, it was a blank game week. So it actually helped me win some money in my other FPL pool. So I ended. No, it was a short month. I was the winner of the month, and I was like, oh wow, this
Well
is
done.
wild. But anyway, that was October, 2 game weeks. It was September. Now we're in October. We're starting again after the international break. And yeah, so this is the FPL show. And so remember, the Cheap Seats is brought to you by Classic Shirts ZA. You can go onto their website or their Twitter page to see what amazing kits they have. And remember, the discount code is Cheap Seats 99, not Cheap Seats 50, like my picture over here. But you can go get the England 2022 World Cup jersey. It's I would say it's not burnt orange, but it's like a burnt red or a burnt pink with a blue with a white and a little bit of blue at the top. I'm not a fan of the white of the home kit, but I like the away kit. Dean, you're an England fan. How do you feel about this kit?
Well, I mean, this marketing campaign is saying you too can look like Jack Grealish, and no one really wants to look like Jack Grealish. So, I guess England's kit, from the absolute beauties that they had for the Euros last year to this, has been probably equal to the downgrade in the level of football they've been playing. So I don't rate these kits, but hopefully they can bring it home as they always do. Look, these major tournaments,
it's just for those who it's for those people who believe at the quarterfinal stage that it's coming home. Go to Cheap Classic Shirts.
Let's hope we get there.
Cheap Seats 99 and go get it. Look, Wales are busy. Wales are busy doing Martin Sheen
motivational videos.
Motivational
and what a man he is.
Who's England going to bring? Piers Morgan. Like,
no,
we don't have that
Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson.
No, there must bring Charles, King Charles himself, into the dressing room. They're like, guys, my mom's dead, but this is me. You're fighting for me, for king and country. And
we changed one of the
first notes,
my face on it.
But anyway, we know what we do on Cheap Seats on the FPL show. We go through everyone's picks of the week, who they're transferring in, who they're transferring out, the differentials of the week, as well as the captaincy options. I'm going to go to Dean because it is game week 9. A quick question for you while we put your stuff up. Have you used your wild card? When are you going to use your wild card?
I have used my wild card, and I used it quite a while ago, actually, just because I was languishing in like 5.5 millionth in the world, and I was just like, guys, this is not where I belong.
Territory.
Yeah, like, this is uncomfortable. So I played the wild card, and it's done me well. Like, I've moved up until the massive 3 millionth now in the world. So 2.5 million places in 2 weeks. I'll take that. But I think the next couple of weeks is going to be interesting because a lot of people have played their wild card. But just jumping on my transfer. So I'd already, in my wild card, I got rid of Salah, as a lot of people will be doing or have already done.
And
I've tried to and Trent. And I've tried to spread that over the midfield. And I went Bowen last week, which I feel like I should have gone James Maddison. So this week I'm bringing him in for Phil Foden. Nothing against Phil Foden because he did score in City's previous game, but I need to get Maddison in just purely because Leicester's run of fixtures are unreal. And although Leicester
are very poor,
they are terrible. But Maddison still seems to do something. Like, even against Spurs, he rocked up with a goal. He's the only person in that side that can actually do something. And I'm hoping that he can actually get some sort of points, but it's also easy to kind of move from him back to Foden if needs be, because City's fixtures are also unreal. And hopefully Foden stays pretty nailed. Differential, Son. We spoke about it in the Premier League show, but I do think Son coming into form, that hat-trick against Leicester would have done him the world of good. Scored in the international break, and against an Arsenal team where the stakes are already higher with it being a North London derby, he's going to want to try and put his foot down and show Conte, like, listen, you dropped me once. It's now going to be at your fall. If you drop me again, I'm here to stay, and this is where I want to be. So I do think Son could be a differential. He's owned by 10% of the game, so not too much of a differential, but I think a lot more people will be looking at him in the future. And then, captain, I'm going with an outside choice of Tony. And the reason being is him not being selected for any England game during this international break, even though he went on tour. You're pretty upset. It's like going on school tour and you just play 12th man for the games, and you just like, I'm going to show you why you have made a mistake. And playing against Bournemouth, I think he's also going to be really good for him just to kind of nail that. So they playing Bournemouth away, which fine, they got rid of Scotty Parker, but Bournemouth are leaky, and Tony's got something to show. He's also scored he's on free kicks by the looks of it. He nailed that.
That's what they said against. They were like, Ivan Toney's going to score against Arsenal.
Well, yeah, that's my only thing.
Think about the ball.
It's differential, but yeah, Tony. I reckon I'm hoping Tony can do something, because I think captaining him, and if he comes to the good, not a lot of people will be thinking about him.
What I like about Dean is he's playing catch up, so you're going to be seeing a lot of differential picks where some of us are like, actually, let's just ride the wave. Let's just ride the wave. I'm going to go to. I'm the one who's riding the wave, and this is me. These are my picks. Ideally, I didn't want to make any substitutions, but because I didn't use my wild card, I've systematically gotten rid of Liverpool players every week in my team. And so now I've got 1.4 in the bank, looking to push up. So Daniel Podence comes out for Wilfried Zaha, who I think is a much better prospect. They've got a run of green fixtures. We've got an FPL. Their next 7 fixtures are green. So, and Palace is not a bad side. They're really good. I know they've got Chelsea, but I'm willing to ride that wave because I know somehow Chelsea will concede. And if it's a penalty, this man's going to take it. So putting him in, trying to see if I can't get some sort of differential from him. Daniel Podence has been great. Served me well. I'm done. Moving from him. I've kept Erling Haaland. Always Captain Haaland. That's my motto for the season. Anthony Gordon is a guy I'm looking at as a possibility to bring him into my team. In case, because I think he's a midfield option actually, which is weird. And he plays up front. So if I'm not necessarily happy with Andreas Pereira or any of the cheap midfielders I have, he's the type of guy. Because Everton have been playing well. He's been playing well. He obviously averages 3 points per game, but that's 3 points you're going to get from like your 5th midfielder. So that's something that I'm pretty comfortable with. But yeah, just trying to chug along, just trying to keep going, looking for those small differentials here and there. My front line is all playing a derby, which is a problem. It's Haaland, it's Kane, and it's Jesus. So that Ivan Toney pick looks really nice. The only question is, who do I take out? I think I might take Jesus just to save myself, and then he scores, and then I'm going to be in trouble. So I'm keeping that front line because goals galore this derby weekend, and we'll see how it goes. But I have 0 Liverpool players now in my team, which is the best thing ever.
Interesting picks. And I must say, I do like some of them. I've got Gordon in my team as well. So welcome to the Gordon. You should have scored that weekend. But it's one of those things that happens, and you are looking at him as a differential. And I like that about what your team's makeup is, because in essence, you're saying, we've got the goal scorer in Haaland. The rest of you just need to do your jobs. And the fact that you've written out Liverpool completely is really interesting to me as well, because I think, Dean, you mentioned, getting rid of Salah and finding joy somewhere else. And I've also tried to go down that route, though I haven't gone as insane as Mpho has.
Look, I saw Liverpool, and the only person I'm going to bring back is Nunes as a possibility if they start scoring, or Diaz, because he's like around about 8. But for me, that's the only place where
I've still got Diaz.
Yeah. So let's go to Cyrus quickly to get you in there. Cyrus, you also supporting a Leicester person, but yours was you took one
Harvey
Alexander
Barnes
out and you brought another Alexander in.
Yeah, look, I like the name, and that's the key thing for me. Look, I'm looking at Mitrovic. The big problem for me was I like Alexander Isak. I think he's going to be a really good player for Newcastle, and he's gotten some good points up front. But he seems to be more injury prone than most of the other injury prone players, and that's a problem, obviously. Mitrovic is also carrying a knock, so I have to look at somebody. And Aston Villa players are really irritating the heck out of me right now, because that's where the sort of Ollie Watkins would be a good option. But with Steven Gerrard and Villa doing what they're doing, goodness knows. So
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it. Harvey Barnes, for me, I've always liked him. And with Leicester, they've always treated me really badly because I'll have Harvey Barnes in, he does nothing. I trade him out, I bring in James Maddison, he does nothing, and Barnes starts playing. So it's always one of those where, like, Dean, thank me for the points you're going to get from Maddison because I've got Barnes in mind. But Barnes played really well against Chelsea, and I saw him coming back into form in the way that he was previously to his injury. So I think Harvey Barnes is going to be important if Brendan Rodgers is able to get anything out of this team. But I don't think that he will. I'm still keeping Barnes in there in the hopes that he might be the one who gets a goal or gets an assist. But Leicester are more than likely going to lose. Interestingly, though, and the reason behind all of this stuff, and you mentioned this before about the derbies, it's so hard to, because you have to choose who's going to be the winner in a game where sometimes winning isn't even everything. It really comes down to grudge. And this is why I haven't completely gone off Trent, because Liverpool play Brighton. And this is a Brighton with a new coach. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening there that I'm still not 100% sure about where Brighton will be, what the tactics will be, and how the players will adapt to the new coach's regime. So I think this might be one where Trent was written out. He didn't play for England, and he's also got a point to prove. But this is not. This is FPL. We don't care about defending in FPL.
The problem is, Cyrus, they play a Brighton team that's riding a high wave, even though they've lost their coach. This Brighton team should regardless of whatever philosophy, should still cause
Harry Potter's magic. Maybe it was Harry Potter's magic. And this is my point, he could come to Chelsea with that wand, and then, we're seeing all sorts of spells. I just think Liverpool at Anfield against Brighton, who are under a new coach, they don't necessarily know how things are going to go. This might be the game where we see Trent come back into form and create a lot more chances and potentially get some results. So I haven't completely written Liverpool off. I have just jumped off the Salah bandwagon because the money was just way too much, and I put it into KDB.
Trent was way too expensive, guys. For what he was giving us.
Look, I totally get that, but I've often jumped off the certain train and realized that my stop was the next stop. So I'm sticking to the Trent Express, and I think he'll deliver this weekend. Mark my words, Paul. You wrote him off too soon.
Okay, we'll find out this weekend whether we're writing people off or whether we are bringing them back in at a very expensive cost. But outside of that, enjoy this weekend, everybody. So many derbies, so much football on the go. We're now back. We've now done our 10 days of mourning. We have a new king now. So let's just keep on going and go and get those points. Outside of that, enjoy the weekend, and goodbye from us all here. Goodbye, good night, and le sale, kakahiso.